with playoff implications. Here we are. Chargers get the win. Now go 7-3. Steelers fall to 5-4. Chargers end up winning 25-10. But man, it felt like the Steelers weren't anywhere close to that. Outside of a garbage time touchdown, which we can get into. But huge statement win here. An AFC win, a potential playoff team Steelers win over the Steelers. And man, where you think, they're looking pretty good, but also it was just kind of Tennessee last week. This was a team, the Steelers, that were kind of rolling a little bit, had some hot moments for sure throughout the season. And offensively for Pittsburgh, they could get nothing going with this Chargers defense. And it's probably where we need to start here, Craig, because this defense was amazing tonight.
A great Looney Tunes gangster once said, "I don't know how you've done it, but I know you've done it." Insane performance. As you mentioned, the defense absolutely won the night. And going into this matchup, I felt like they had to play like above their heads in order to keep this just tight because, of course, we knew about all the deficiencies on the offensive line, so they were going to have to hold their own, but they did more than that. They were the stars of the night. And because the offense was kind of hot and cold, there wasn't a ton of consistency. The one thing that they could absolutely count on tonight was the defense. And when I say at every level they handled their business, they took care of it and they stomped the Steelers out in the most Jim Harbaugh way possible.
And you mean advantages like with the Chargers O-line being down, dropped interceptions? Like what are you referring to?
So again, with the offensive line being what we knew it was going to be really hard to score points unless they had really good field position, and were able to catch the Steelers off balance a little bit. So things of that nature. I mean, the ball was bouncing in the Chargers' direction all night. I mean, there were some instances where the Steelers just didn't take advantage of some potentially costly Chargers mistakes, but that's not our problem. The Chargers were able to cash in on theirs, and it's just a game of football. Sometimes the ball bounces your way, sometimes it doesn't. More often than not for the Chargers, it doesn't. So I don't feel badly for the Steelers whatsoever.
Yeah, not at all. And yeah, maybe they could have had 2 interceptions, and there could have been, I don't know, some different turns in that game. But man, it just did not feel like that Steelers offense could get anything going on Minter today. And he deserves a huge shout out. But I think, what we're talking about, like at all 3 levels, it just did not feel like anybody was a problem tonight on the Chargers defense. We thought, they were probably going to bully them up front, and the running game was probably going to be pretty good for the Steelers. Rodgers was going to have a lot of time today, but that just was not the case. We saw, obviously early on, Khalil Mack getting the sack safety just on pure pursuit, and then the spin back to get him in the end zone, which the ball popped open free, but Rodgers was able to recover. We got a Bud Dupree sack, which felt like he's been on the back of a milk carton all season, but got his first sack, which kind of felt like ran right into him. He almost got popped that ball loose too. And then we got a Thule sack on a 3rd down, which was his 8th of the season. It was the pass. And then, some of the interior guys got to the quarterback too. We saw at the very end, Deshaun Hand, he made an impact all day today, getting pushed in the pocket, but getting that hit on Rodgers to force that incompletion. Jamari Caldwell had I know I'm probably going to start naming every man on defense, but it just felt like just for the boys up front, we'll get into linebacker in the back end, maybe DBs and all that. But even Jamari Caldwell getting that tackle for a loss in the run game that really got blown up by Khalil Mack, who took on his defender and secure that edge. And then on that Caleb Johnson run, I think it was the 2nd drive of the game. But it just felt like all the big boys up front. And then, those edge rushers were really getting after the quarterback. We didn't see a lot from Oweh today, but, there just wasn't – it just didn't feel like Rodgers had a lot of time in general. Everybody was playing pretty tight defense today.
You mentioned a name there that I want to talk a little bit more about because he might actually be the difference in this defensive line, and that's Deshaun Hand. The running game was not a problem tonight whatsoever, and there was one main difference is the fact that Deshaun Hand was back after being out on IR for 4 weeks. So he gets back on the field, and literally everything changes, and I don't think that's a coincidence because before he went out, they were much more stout against the run. Now, here and there, teams will pop a run, but before Hand went out, it wasn't as frequent as you saw over the last month. And I think that he's a huge difference maker in that rotation as a whole, but just somebody that has like that really nice size and athleticism to complement it. And he's really good at not just holding that point of attack, but shooting gaps as well. So he's someone who can stack and shed. And that's definitely an attribute, a skill you have to have as a defensive lineman if you want to be effective against the run. And you saw that to great effect tonight. And yeah, it was kind of like the revenge of the Steelers. So you mentioned
Bud Dupree.
And what's my guy's name? I'm forgetting.
Dante Jackson.
Dante Jackson with a pick. So Bud gets a sack. Dante gets his pick. So yeah, that was really nice to see. But overall, man, not Greg Roman. What the hell?
Roman Wilson.
Oh yeah, he did score at the end of the game, right? But no.
Yeah.
So Jesse Minter did a phenomenal job with the game planning tonight with regard to making sure that DK Metcalf was not going to beat the Chargers. There was an emphasis on either bracketing him or just straight up double teaming him and making Rodgers find a secondary receiver, which he really couldn't do all night long. And so that was kind of the difference in the game. The fact that you were able to stifle them in the running game, and you were able to take that number one receiving threat out, and they didn't out physical you. At the beginning of the game, it felt like that was the direction it was going in, but the Chargers really hunkered down and they changed the tide, man. And absolutely, if we want to give credit to anyone, first and foremost, it has to be that defense and Jesse Minter.
Jesse Minter deserves a lot of flowers, and there's probably a lot of guys that deserve flowers today, but I don't want to move on to DBs and linebackers and all that until you get to speak on your boy, RJ Pickens, if you will.
Mr. Pickens. Mr. Pickens. It feels good, man, just to see a lot of the talent that I saw on display when we were doing that scouting about him come to fruition on the field. Because even in the preseason, he popped a little bit. But I know, it's preseason. But take it for what it's worth. But he was a rookie. He was still out there on the field making plays. And you saw why that Alohi Gilman trade wasn't as big of a deal as what I think some people made it out to be, because they felt very comfortable with RJ on the field. And what I saw at Clemson is what's showing up now. The kid's just always around the ball. The ball finds him. Kind of similarly to the way that if Gilman was playing kind of in the intermediate portion of the field and sometimes down in the box, he would find himself around the ball making plays that way. RJ's able to do that, but in the back end. So now you feel comfortable with asking him to play in the deep third, which was never an Alohi strength. But then he also is a very, very, which Gilman wasn't, a very good tackler in the open field one-on-one. So he's got all of the bases covered. And every week he just keeps showing up. You saw Unc was out this week. Jefferson couldn't play, and I think everybody was a little worried when they saw him practicing, and then he was what I guess would be a healthy scratch. But just give him time to rest up, and that safety rotation is super solid. And I couldn't be happier with the selection. I was happy then, and it's paying dividends now.
Yeah, I want to so the interception was great. I mean, that the ball kind of sailed on Rodgers a little bit, and it hit Mickens right in the tummy. But he came down with it. That's 2 interceptions in 3 games, which is huge. He's making those mistakes count for that Chargers defense. But what really impressed me a lot was his play on Kenneth Gainwell. There was a 3rd down where he was 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, and Gainwell was in the backfield, then motioned out and lined up in the slot. And he went that Rodgers saw a one-on-one matchup. Like Gainwell had no DB over the top of him. It was Mickens' man, and he had to come down from 10 yards. He was at the sticks because it was 3rd and 10. He was at the sticks, came down, saw the one-on-one matchup, hoping that Gainwell can maybe make a move or break a tackle, but they could not take advantage of that matchup. Mickens was such a good tackler in the open field that he was able to stop him for like maybe 3 or 4 yards at that point. And he got the stop. He forced that field goal that ended up being a miss from Boswell. So that was a pretty huge play from Mickens, not only making an open field tackle on an island one-on-one, because if he makes him miss, Gainwell's getting more than 10. We're talking 20, 30. He's getting, because he was by himself. There was nobody behind him. And when you've got a guy like that playing center field that can make a tackle like that, which again, like to your point, Alohi Gilman could not, like that was not his game. I know like there was 2 seasons ago, he was getting a lot of like, fumbles, and he was making some pass deflections and everything, but he was never a sure tackler, and you did not want him on the back end. I know some Chargers fans loved him there. I hated it. I did not feel like he was that wall you need back there in center field. Mickens feels like that guy, and we saw it today. We've seen him flash the last 2 games with that. His open field tackling is so impressive that to get that on a running back, by the way, to get that tackle, force the long field goal, and then Boswell to miss it. I mean, that's like, you're saving points off the board there. So yes, he got the interception today, but that play, man, to take advantage of that open field tackling where Rodgers felt like, he wanted his man to miss one-on-one, which the Chargers did on offense too, and we'll get to that. But to attack downfield 10 yards off the line of scrimmage was so impressive today. And that's just a play that I don't think a lot of people are going to talk about, because they'll talk about that interception, which was great. But outside of that pick, man, that play was a highlight for me.
The ability to play from depth, to come downhill and make tackles, is a very difficult thing to do, because as a safety, typically, if you're talking about the free safety, especially, you're the last line of defense. So if you miss, it's a wrap. To be able to come down and kind of square a guy up and be a short tackler like that, it basically ensures that you can stay on the field for essentially every down. There's no weakness there. And if you want to rotate your safeties, and you're going to either have to play, whether we're talking like on the strong side as a strong safety, or you're talking about to the field, to be able to have interchangeable safeties like both he and Molden to do both things, because Molden also had a phenomenal tackle where he came down from depth and cleaned up on the outside running lane to stop a run short that would have otherwise broken for a big one. That's invaluable. And again, for a rookie to be able to play that confidently says all you need to know about the way that they develop talent in the secondary. Again, Steve Klingscale, never let this man go, because apparently he can make anyone a good player in the secondary. And that's no slight to Mickens, because I love Mickens, but we do know who I'm talking about. So the fact that he's able to do that, tells you all you need to know about the type of player that you have here. And again, it's another steal by the front office, getting players in the late in the draft that are coming in and contributing very early on, specifically guys in the secondary. So Joe Ortiz, you get your flowers tonight as well.
Yeah. And while we're talking, we talked about Dante Jackson getting that interception, the former Steeler making a big impact. We're talking about RJ Mickens. We saw two really, really good plays from some DBs. We saw Nico Reed make a leaping pass deflection where he's running strike for strike, gets his head around. Kind of almost felt like he might have got, when the ball was in the air, he played so well. I thought he might have come down with
a chance with a pick.
Yeah. But, got the pass deflection, forced a punt there. And then also Cam Hart today made an awesome 4th down stop on DK Metcalf. You talked about them wanting to bracket. There was a safety over the top, but they tried to get that ball to him early, and they try to, play on that size of Cam Hart, maybe take advantage of that height advantage from DK to Cam Hart. But he played strong through the ball, got his hands up to break it up, and they got that turnover on downs when the Steelers were really – that's when they were outside of the garbage time touchdown, which really feels like it's off the books at this point. When the Steelers were finally driving and trying to put up some points to at least come back in this game. They went for it on a 4th down, which was the right call from Tomlin. But Rodgers saw that matchup on the outside, and he was throwing that no matter what. He wanted that matchup, and Cam Hart got the best of it. They turned the ball over on downs, and the Chargers go down and score right after it, if I'm not mistaken. But Nico Reed, Cam Hart, also some big plays from those DBs too.
That was a predetermined throw. He was going to DK no matter what. And that, you could say, was probably where like their souls were taken, because that drive not working out and ending up in no points whatsoever took all of the wind out of themselves. After that missed 55-yarder by Dicker, that was their drive. They had a short field. They made the most out of it and just couldn't cash it in. And to walk away with absolutely nothing pretty much sealed it for them. From that point on, that's when everything started to avalanche and snowball on them. You got additional turnovers. Everything went wrong from there on out. And that's when you have to really put your foot on teams' necks and just choke them out. And the Chargers were able to do that. And we'll talk about the offense here in a second, but they did some really nice things tonight that I felt like complemented the current roster that they have with the guys that are available to them. But again, starting off with the defense, you can't miss, because they are essentially what won this game for the Chargers tonight.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. I mean, defensively, they were just there was nothing. Again, the Steelers could get anything going on offense.
Were they 0 for 9 on third down or
I
something
think
crazy?
until that last drive, yeah, it was something.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. It didn't count.
Yeah. Again, that last drive feels like it's off the books. I
Yeah.
mean, they were relenting yards for time at that point, so
Mhm.
that it's going to count in the scorebook and all that, and the score sheet, and it's going to be 25-10. But it really felt like offensively they got like no touchdowns today.
No.
I get the garbage time touchdown, but what I think really impressed me early on in this game, and it felt like it stayed true throughout all 4 quarters, was how good of a tackling team it was today. Like,
Mhm.
we saw initially the Denzel Perryman making a huge stick on a Steelers run play on second down, like a form tackle, sweep the legs, brought him down. Like, it was perfect textbook teaching tape type tackle. And then, the very next play, he gets the same thing where he's coming from the opposite side, gets another form tackle on Caleb Johnson. It was for a 3 or 4 yard gain in that point, but it was beautiful. And then we saw the play you're talking about with Elijah Molden, who comes around and makes a big stick on Caleb Johnson, coming from center field. I mean, he was playing deep, came down, made a big tackle, but they were really, really, really physical today. And I know it's like hats off to Jesse Minter for what he did game plan wise, but the way in which these, DBs to linebackers to defensive linemen were playing today, I mean, they were giving up nothing, and their tackling was excellent. And it felt like the Chargers out-Steelered the Steelers today,
Mhm.
where early on in this game, this was an absolute dogfight, like 3-2. Like it was all defense the entire time. Offensively, they couldn't get anything going. And it felt like the Chargers eventually started laying, and we'll talk about the offense, but they started laying haymakers. And the Steelers, as soon as it felt like midway through that second quarter, just felt like they were being outmatched. They were being outclassed. And the Chargers just were the better, tough-nosed football team today. The exact type of football that Harbaugh wants to play, they got to see on the other side of the field, and they absolutely out-Steelered that kind of mold that Harbaugh has been wanting to do, and they finally put it on tape today, and they just, again, they outmatched and outclassed the Steelers.
Yeah, so it feels nice to out game plan another team when you're talking
Mhm.
about all the fleck that Greg Roman has taken. And I mean, I guess we can kind of segue over to
Yeah,
that
sure.
to talk a little bit about the offense, because
Yeah.
overall tonight, this might have been, under the circumstances, the best game plan, game calling I've seen Greg Roman outside of just your scripted plays to start the game off, because that didn't go very well. The first couple of drives just were no-goes for various reasons, but it felt like they were being out physical initially, and we know about all the attrition on the offensive line. But what I love that I saw tonight, that I think I tweeted this earlier in the week, I was looking for an opportunity for Greg Roman to roll out some more of that 4 wide, maybe even some empty sets, to just give Herbert the opportunity to utilize those wide receivers and get the ball out of his hands pretty
Mhm.
quickly. Now, there wasn't a ton of empty, but he did run a lot of 4 out, and it worked when it needed to. There were a lot of very timely throws by Herbert, because he started off, he was definitely off. There were balls that were
Mhm.
behind guys. There were a
Mhm.
couple that, were behind, like QJ. A couple of these balls QJ dropped. Let's just be honest.
Mhm.
Some of
Yeah.
them just, it was the whole cradle catching thing again. And there's a conversation to be had about when he has to play a more physical brand of football. We know that that's not his favorite thing, but against teams like this, there's a tendency to start alligator arming certain catches, not really trying to pluck the ball out of the air, maybe for, I'm not going to call it fear. He's a professional football player, but not wanting to have to take on that contact, because he had a couple of really nice catches where he was able to make some moves and make some guys miss in the open field. So it wasn't a completely wasted game, but this isn't all about QJ. It's specifically about the fact that they were looking to get the ball in their playmakers' hands quickly, and there wasn't as many 5 to 7 step drops tonight. They really didn't even run a ton of play action. I think I saw maybe 2-3 play
Mhm.
action plays.
Yeah.
One of them was a really big, not a huge shot, but it was a first down play to Ladd that kept the ball moving, and kept the
Mhm.
drive on schedule. But Greg Roman did a phenomenal job with the run game with Kamani Vidal. It's funny. Good game, bad game. Good game, bad game.
Yeah.
It was good game week. So I
Like, it's
guess
gotta
middle
be an
week,
even game for it to be
it's got to
good
be
for
even game in
Roman,
order for it to work out. So yeah, he had a really, really great game. And I think that is also due to Greg Roman in the scheme, because in the run game, they were spreading the Steelers out. allowing him to still run inside zone, but there was also a lot of misdirection runs where he was getting the Steelers front to over pursue, and then he was attacking the edges as well, and not just asking the offensive line to get head up and hat on a hat, just vertically, and that worked to great effect. So Greg Roman, hats off to you, my man, because in a game that you had to come in this with the appropriate game plan just to keep Herbert healthy, which still there was a hip drop tackle that wasn't called. I have no idea why that wasn't flagged. If it wasn't for that, Herbert took a couple shots here and there, but it was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, how often did you hear TJ Watt's name? I think once near like the end of the game. And really no one else. Like, well, it depends on who you listen to, because Chris Collinsworth is a complete idiot. That's a conversation all to itself. By the way, Garrett, how did the Chiefs pull this one off?
I don't know, but we got a lot of talk about the Chiefs today.
Okay, they didn't play tonight?
No.
Okay, cool. Because I don't know whether Collinsworth did a bump of Christina Aguilera before the broadcast, or somehow forgot like that patty cake and the boys weren't playing tonight, but it was ridiculous. I'm sick of Collinsworth. Put him in a nursing home.
They were somehow the favorites in this game today, and they weren't even playing. Like, that conversation was crazy.
Okay.
In the AFC West, who's the favorites? The Chiefs or the Broncos? And it's like,
you mean the team in third place? Yeah, let's make it about them tonight somehow. I'm over it. We got to stop Collins with it. Just the Collinsworth Tarico thing. It needs to end. We can start a petition. I'll put bread up for it. Whoever wants to join me, how we can make this happen. Just split them up. They're like
only Collinsworth can make the Chiefs the favorites on their bye week.
Yeah, this is true. But anyway, enough of that clown. Greg Roman did a phenomenal job of game planning tonight and execution. I actually thought that at some point they were going to catch the Steelers on a big play on like a pump and go, because he was getting all the short stuff out there in a hurry, and the corners were starting to bite on it a little bit. They didn't have to do it, which is completely fine. But overall, Greg, you did your thing tonight, man. For someone who's always taken a whole lot of flack, and more often than not, it's warranted. You definitely earned your paycheck tonight.
Yeah, and it really felt so, like, early on, it felt like Herbert was off. He kind of had those happy feet in the pocket. Felt like he was feeling the pressure when it wasn't there, and then a lot of times it was there. And that first quarter felt like Herbert couldn't get anything going. They couldn't get anything on the ground. This was going to be a very, very, very long night for this Chargers offense. But right at the beginning of the second quarter, when the Chargers got the ball back, they went. Very first play was a quick pass to the outside of Trey Harris, then a quick pass to QJ on the outside. They got some completions. They got into rhythm. They got a first down. Then 2 plays later, Vidal gets a first down. Then they got some play action to Gadsden, which, we talk about QJ drops. Gadsden didn't have his best game today, which I hope he's better and he comes back next week. But it really helped slow down the pass rush because they weren't getting much on the ground there. And it helped get Herbert into rhythm. And that's when it felt like the offense started rolling. There was a lot of quick passes, which, got 4 to 5 yard gains a clip, which were just as good as runs. And then they were setting up second and short and medium. And then it helped them kind of move the ball successfully. And then they just kind of rolled with that through the rest of the game. So I thought it was great that Roman was able to kind of see hey, man, the run game's not working. We can't drop Herbert back. He's got to get the ball out quickly. This pass rush is starting to – it felt like towards the end of that first quarter, they were starting to pin their ears back. And that Steeler front was coming after Herbert. And we're going, man, this offensive line, what are we going to do? And then, those quick passes, you got one-on-one on the outside. You need a guy like Trey Harris and QJ to just, break a tackle or two and get some extra yards. And, you didn't need to get 10 on first down, but they're getting enough that it made it second and manageable every single time, almost every time, which really helped set them up and then open up the run game later in that second quarter. And then Vidal started to get some action and getting on a run there a little bit too. So I really commend Roman and Harbaugh for assessing how bad the first quarter was going and how terrible the offensive line was managing this game, and then going with that quick passing to kind of slow down the pass rush, at least get Herbert some completions, because his balls were sailing a little bit behind. But then once you got them in rhythm and then it started flowing, the offense just kind of took off from there. And I think that was kind of the turning point, was at the beginning of the second quarter, just getting those quick passes in the flat, which they kept going back to, by the way, throughout this game. Which, by the way, QJ might have had like 2 drops today, but that swing pass in that fourth quarter where there was that quick pass arm to get that first down, man. I mean, that felt like redemption. He went to the sideline, started, mean munging his fellow teammates, and they were all dapping him up. It was pretty awesome to see QJ bounce back like that.
That was Steve Smith-esque, in my opinion, just the way he did that. So that was probably one of the most physical runs after the catch I've seen from QJ. Yeah. So absolutely bravo to him for that.
Yeah.
You were talking about Greg Roman and the play calling with regard to getting the ball out on the perimeter. That's what opened up the middle of the field, by the way. So he was really slick in that regard, just stretching the Steelers out, because the strength of the defense is up the middle. So if you can attack them horizontally and make them spread out and, have the corners a little bit more cognizant about defending against the sideline and maybe coming up against those shorter passes, that's what gives you those opportunities, like Ladd on the touchdown, where he essentially runs a skinny angle for a TD. The middle of the field of the seam was wide open. And that's because they've been making those deposits horizontally on the outside, and they snuck Ladd into the slot, which, I mean, sneaking Ladd into the slot sounds crazy, but that matchup one-on-one, I don't know why you would put a defender in that position, but one-on-one with Ladd in the slot is just a recipe for disaster, but they spread him out and they let him do his thing. But again, they were able to do that because of all of the play calling to stretch the Steelers horizontally, and it opened up an opportunity there, like this cavernous hole in the middle of the field that Ladd could essentially do anything he wanted with, and that resulted in a TD. So great game planning, great execution. Herbert didn't have his best stuff tonight, but he did make some timely passes. That shot to Ladd on third down, oh boy, I have no idea how he made that throw. That was incredible. So in the fourth quarter, the 58-yarder to Ladd on third down, I have no clue how he makes that throw, but he does this at least once a game, so we shouldn't be shocked. It's just fitting the pill in literally spaces where there is no hole at all, just getting it to where only the receiver can get it. It's almost like defensive backs don't even think that the ball can be placed where it is, so they're not even looking for it there. That was a complete and total seed that he threw. And again, this is how big-time playmakers make their hay. If they need to make a throw, and this has always been the intention of Harbaugh, by the way, right? It's, hey, I have this quarterback. I don't want to ask him to have to do everything. We just need him to make 1 or 2 of these type throws when we absolutely have to have it. Otherwise, let's get him some other stuff to help complement him, like a running game. And that's what happened tonight. You didn't get the best version of Herbert, but when Herbert needed to do it, he was able to reach into his bag and pull it out. And you saw that tonight. Yeah,
that throw is something that I will be watching on repeat for a very long time. It just feels
disgusting.
And they kept talking about how tight of a window that was, and
what window?
That window was closed. Tight window. There was no window. There was no air to breathe, but he somehow squeezed it into Ladd, and there could have very well have been some of Eccles' jersey fabric on that ball, some paint from that jersey. He turned around and felt the ball hit him in the chest, like graze his chest as it got into Ladd's hands. I know Herbert is Superman. I mean, we watched every game of his from training camp of his rookie year, all the college tape we could consume during the draft process. I've seen him make a million throws. I still cannot believe that throw he made today. I cannot comprehend any football player on this planet making that type of throw across a DB's chest, close enough to graze his jersey, and still make it into a receiver's hands. That makes no sense. It defies the laws of gravity, and that man is not human. I cannot believe that throw.
We can make a whole mixtape of these throws at this point.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Sure. They're like and one compilation mixtapes of all of these Herbert throws. And the fact that we see it every week, we're still not really numb to it. Like when it happens, it's still mind-blowing, but you don't realize how crazy these throws are until you go back and rewatch them, especially once you watch them on all 22. Some of these throws makes Absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he pulls it out week in and week out. And he's never going to be beloved the way that like Chargers fans do. We understand how the national media works. He'll get attention here and there, but it's all
Mhm.
about winning the big game. Get all that. He absolutely still needs to do it. But you can't overlook things like this because it doesn't happen all the time. There's not a single QB every week that's doing that type of
Yeah.
thing every week. Doesn't matter who your favorite is. You can
Yeah.
call Patrick Mahomes out all you want. We know that's the league's darling. Phenomenal player. I'll never take anything away from him. Personally, don't like the guy for the whiny baby stuff that he does and all the other crap associated with the NFL that surrounds
Mhm.
him. But he's not making throws like this every single week. Now, again, taking nothing from him because he does some phenomenal things. But as far as just a pure passer of the ball, Herbert might be the best doing it right now. And we're saying this when he played against arguably the all-time purest thrower of the football in Aaron Rodgers tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. People are, I hope people do not take Justin Herbert for granted because that thing today, I mean, and it feels like Mahomes is a whole nother issue. Like he's got some kind of magic, like wizardry,
Mhm.
like escape artist type throws, which are great. And he's got a cannon, but this, this throw and this man playing quarterback for the Chargers, I mean, he's got a rocket launcher. That dude, the speed in which he threw that ball. And by the way, you talking about, you mentioned animal mixtapes. How about the professor, Lad McConkey, with that
Mm,
jab step
mm.
double move, crossing up a DB,
Touche, sir.
froze him, and was wide open. That thing was beautiful and a missile by Herbert too.
Yeah, man. You call that one definitely the professor. See, you got me feeling nostalgic now. I gotta break out that box I got
Hey
somewhere in the
yo!
closet. There you go. Gotta bring that box out. Where would I even find a VCR right now?
Good question. I have no idea. You're gonna have to go on Amazon. I think
Dang.
maybe
Yeah, I
they
gotta
might
find
even
one
not.
somewhere.
Yeah, I don't even know if they sell them.
I can go dig something up somewhere. I don't know, but yeah. So Collinsworth, I don't know if you paid attention, man, but that's a throw you could glaze for the next few weeks. Go for that. I don't even know where you get like Reagan era Coke in 2025, but maybe lay off of that and just pay attention to the actual game in front of you and whatever that nonsense you're doing right now to incorporate the Chiefs into every Sunday night football game. Just figure out something else to do. I'm sick of talking about him. Let me get off of that. But yeah, so offense, phenomenal job. Herbert, timely throws, and Lad. The last few weeks, we've been seeing the Lad from 2024. And again, I
Yeah,
think we were talking about how this year it's been less about like he's not playing any worse. It's just that there are more options. There's only one
yeah,
pill to distribute amongst all the receivers. So whenever there's a play that needs to be made, Lad's still generally the guy. Keenan broke the all-time receiving record tonight
I was
over
just gonna
Antonio
mention it. Yeah,
Gates. Yeah, we saw that, but it's Keenan's still there. He even made a really big play in third down, like a third and slate play on third. I think it was third and long,
hmm
to keep the drive on schedule as well. But Lad is the guy in the offense. Make no mistakes about it. And he comes through with another big game. I mean, he only had 4 receptions, but it still went over 100 yards and had a TD. So he's your big play guy. QJ has served in that role here and there. But whenever a play is to be made, man, 15 is the dude that 10 is looking for.
yeah. And since you mentioned it, man, huge shout out to Keenan. I know it was kind of a pop pass to get it, and you would have loved to get hit, a
Yeah.
touchdown or something more pretty. But man, he's my goat at least in terms of Chargers wide receivers. I know
Yes.
a lot of people will argue with Lance Allworth, but I was not alive during that time, so I cannot speak on that man.
Mhm.
But I can tell you, Keenan Allen is by far the best Chargers wide receiver I've ever seen. He is my personal favorite, and I absolutely love that he broke the record and he got his big celebratory moment in a nationally televised game, which was kind of nice, and
Mhm.
good on the Chargers for kind of recognizing it and also kind of perfect timing right before the 2-minute warning to get it. Clock is running down. He's celebrating on the sideline, and then he's got that commercial break to really soak it all in.
Yeah.
Stadium get to celebrate him a little bit longer. But yeah, man, incredible football player. He is the best route runner I ever got to see with my own 2 eyes in a Chargers jersey, or maybe ever in my mind. Getting to see him every Sunday and every training camp from his rookie season, but man, huge day for him, and huge congratulations to, from a Hall of Famer, Antonio Gates, to hopefully a future Hall of Famer, Keenan Allen.
Yeah, absolutely. And Keenan's not only one of my favorite Chargers receivers of all time, he's one of my favorite receivers, period. And for him to be able to come back to the Chargers, I mean, y'all saw the show that Jamie and I did after that trade. I was heartbroken, man. And to be able to get him back and have him break this record means everything. You saw Gates go in the Hall of Fame this year. And just like you mentioned, man, Keenan's got the numbers. I mean, as far as the catches and the receiving yards go, I mean, he's never been the flashiest wide receiver, but we're talking about someone who is a route technician. And because of his style of game, I'll say this every time, it's never going to be about the athletic ability. Keenan's never been the greatest athlete. He's never been the fastest dude. He's never been the most agile. What he is someone that he can stem all of his routes together the exact same way. You never know what's coming. He plucks the ball out of the air. He's made some phenomenal catches, but man, what you will know him the most for is being one of the greatest route runners of all time. Keenan Allen is like your favorite wide receiver's favorite wide receiver. So you got to respect it. And again, like you mentioned, for him to break that record on the national stage tonight and have Gates there, Gates knew it was coming, man. So that's why he was there tonight. He absolutely knew that tonight should be the night. And the Chargers made sure that it was going to happen tonight. He didn't get a ton of targets. He had only had the one catch before then. And so kudos to them for going out of their way to ensure it happened. Yeah, it would have been nice if it were on like a bigger play, but I don't care. He has it. He's in the record books now, and he's eternally a Charger forever.
Yeah, and man, somebody said, Lou said Keenan said he drew up that play himself, which is pretty funny. I don't know if he said that or not, but that's pretty great.
If he did, fine. I don't care.
Yeah. We got a couple more things to talk about, but we haven't talked about this in particular from Casey Linsmeyer. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Feel free to send in your questions, comments, and everything, and we'll get to it. And don't forget to subscribe while you're here and liking this video and everything else. From Casey, what do you think of that spear tackle that happened to Darius Davis?
I got Derwin James vibes from that a little bit. Kind of reminded me of the Derwin James Travis Kelce tackle, but it's a little different because like Darius Davis is like the size of my 10-year-old. So it wasn't nearly as impressive. Okay, you got your stuff off on like a smaller guy. No disrespect, Darius Davis, great football player, great return man, should I say?
Yeah.
But what are they asking? Like, do I think that it should have been penalized?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Do you think it should have been a penalty?
I mean, it looked really bad. I could see where it could be considered maybe a roughing penalty, but again, I think it just looked bad because of who it was done to, because we've seen that before, except it was the other way around, smaller guy on a much bigger guy. So, if they would have thrown a flag on it, I wouldn't have scoffed at it, but I can see why they didn't.
Man, that felt like in today's NFL, that's a penalty. Driving somebody, I get why you say that. Ground. Like I get like Derwin James did that, yes, but that was a few years ago. Now it feels like anything excessive where you're driving a player into the ground, like he had him up in the air, just to throw him to the ground, but to get him up high and then power slam him to the ground, driving your shoulder into him, just feels like some kind of unnecessary roughness that they.
Well, that's the definition of defenseless player, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so too. Getting picked up in the air. Yeah. I would think so, but yeah, I don't know. It felt like to me like there should have been a penalty early on. But also it felt like kind of a gray area. Like we don't see that very often. So I don't know how often they're calling that stuff. Like it felt like a penalty to me live. When they didn't call it, it was just like, oh man, come on. But I didn't, I wasn't complaining about it or crying about it at all.
What was the move that the Dudley brothers used to do? Where like one would 3D? Hold. Yeah. I guess that's the next thing to come, right? Guy just like throws you up in the air and another one comes and then like they power bomb you like that. Like, right. I guess it would have to be that extreme for him to throw a flag at this point because that was intentional. He was literally he was trying to prove a point. So I could see them giving a roughing penalty, unsportsmanlike or something like that. But again, nothing surprises me with these refs anymore. I watched Justin Herbert get the definition of hip drop tackled, and they just looked at it and turned a complete blind eye to it. So whatever.
That was bizarre. And also, if we hear TJ Watt yell "get the tables" and they do the 3D through something, I think they're throwing a flag for sure. Especially when they have that 2-pump penalty on Dowdle last week from the Key and Peele sketch.
So wait, how many pumps is one too many?
So in the sketch, it's 3. Like you can't do 3. So Dowdle jokingly did 1, 2, would fake the third, didn't do the third, and then got out of there. But according to the rules, it can't be that much, apparently. So 2 is too much. So then today he scored.
So 1 pump, you're good.
Well, today he pretended to do it again. He scored again. And then he pretended he was about to do it, and then he didn't do it, and he ran off. So he did no pumps today. But, I don't know. It's definitely – so 2 is too many. I think 1 is going to be a gray area. We'll see about that. I don't know. But 2 we know is too many. So anything after that is going to be too much. But in the sketch, it's 3, which Dowdle was kind of going off of. But he got a GoFundMe. This is off topic, but he ended up getting his fine covered. And then Michael Key talked to him this week. He Zoomed, had a Zoom session with him, and his wife helped donate. I think it was like 15,000 was the fine. They matched whatever his fine was to his charity of his choice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think the league office watches reruns of Key and Peele?
I don't know. If they did, they would know it's only 3 pumps. But for whatever reason, they gave
no fun league, man. That's what it is. No fun league. We know how this works.
No. There was hold on. Lou, what was with Herbert wanting a flag on that front collar tackle? Like he got inside of his pads. That's not a horse collar, right? That's only in
not
the back.
At the front. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. It felt like he thought it was a horse collar, but you can't do that in the front.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do that in the back. You can do that in the front.
Oh, it's getting a little weird.
No. I'm not taking them back. I'm not pausing. I'm going to move forward. I said what I said.
No, for sure. I respect it.
It's Sunday night. I said what I said. So do you want to speak on this offensive line? Because there was somebody had here we go. Thank you. Chargers Kayab? I don't know. Harbaugh just deflected again when asked about doing more to protect Herbert. He should say, gotta get better. Speak truth.
He's not going back on the offensive line. I mean, to say you have to get better, I mean, let's be honest. Who does he actually bag on? Nobody.
No.
So I'm not surprised that he won't do that.
Nobody.
There you go. There you go. This is why you're the best. So no, it's not going to happen. Do we all know? Yeah. Were we all freaking out when we saw that Austin Deculus was starting the left tackle? I know I was. I was prepared to I don't know. I don't question a lot that Harbaugh does because he's been doing it at such a high level for years. So I just like to give him credit until it proves not to work, except we know about the center situation. And you're never going to make me understand that. But Austin Deculus starting this week instead of Jamari Sawyer was a complete head scratcher. Now, it didn't end up biting them tonight, which is good. I mean, I guess maybe they were thinking along the lines of because they were running more of the spread concept, they needed someone with a little bit more athleticism. Sawyer isn't the most fleet of foot at tackle. I think Deculus is a little bit better athlete there. So they wanted somebody who would move maybe a bit better in space, potentially. So I'm assuming that was the thought process behind it, just kind of based on what the game plan and calls were for tonight. But overall, the offensive line still stinks. They circumvented an entire offensive line somehow tonight against a team whose strength is their defensive front. I still can't make that make sense in my head, but it worked out. Herbert did take some really gnarly hits tonight still. He got out of there once or twice on a couple of runs, but you could tell the Steelers were keying in on him taking off. So there weren't as many open lanes for him to run into. And like I mentioned before, thinking about having to utilize the quick game more on the perimeters instead of the middle of the field because they were going to be looking to get their hands up. We know how many balls have been batted from Justin Herbert this year. There were still, 2 or 3 tonight?
4.
4. Okay, hell. Well, we do know that he figured out how to stop them from picking it off is by actually catching your own batted pass. So there's that. So again, dude just does it all. But yeah, so as far as the offensive line construction, it's going to be one of these things where I think I don't know how much you want to do this because offensive line is something where you want to get continuity. So you don't want to have guys in and out every week. But I guess depending on whatever the game plan is for that week will determine who's playing where. And they're just going to have to do a little bit of musical chairs. If tonight is something that they're going to try to do moving forward for the rest of the season, and this is your lineup, then I guess, but you also did still trade for an offensive lineman here that is going to have to get into the mix, I'm assuming within the next week. I'm not mad because it ended up not shooting them. They didn't shoot themselves in the foot with the offensive line situation. It's still questionable based on, the guys that they have in, but let's just see what happens moving forward. But tonight you get no complaints from me.
All right, then I will, because this line is an absolute travesty. I can't do this. I cannot do this. Herbert got rolled up on during that horse collar tackle by 2 dudes, and he was, especially early on, getting teed off on. They had 4 batted passes out of the line of scrimmage. Now we can blame Herbert, but also it just felt like that interior pressure was getting to Herbert a lot. He was getting hit low a lot in that game, which just felt like odd. Like he was just like they were all falling at his feet, like diving for his knees or whatever. But the fact that the Chargers looked at last game in Tennessee, saw how good Salyer played, and still said Austin Deculus is our starting left tackle is insane. You have tape on how good a left tackle can play. And I'm not saying he was Joe Alt status or Rashawn Slater status, but he was the best dude you've ever put out on an island, not named Alt or Slater. Salyer was the best on the right side, left side. He had a better game against Tennessee than Pipkins has had all season, better than Deculus might have had his whole career. I'm not sure, but I cannot make an argument that Deculus was the best choice to start at left tackle today. And yes, it didn't really make a difference. The run game ended up opening up late, and good on them. That's fine, but that doesn't mask the fact that this is a really, really, really terrible unit. This 5 is terrible. And I was a fan. You've been a fan of Becton when he signed here. He has been bad. The fact that they still decide to roll this corpse called Bradley Bozeman at center every week is beyond me. And to not try to make your team better when you're talking about competitors welcome every camp, but you're still going to roll with a guy like Bradley Bozeman. And my camera froze for whatever reason, which is tight. But I'll go audio. The fact that you're still going to roll with him is insane. And then you've got Bobby Hart coming back, maybe Trevor Penning. So maybe they'll be in the mix soon. But this current 5 is so bad, and they're hurting this team's potential even without Slater and Alt. So you cannot put Deculus back in the starting lineup. Yes, they got the win. That's great. But that does not make this offensive line any better.
Yeah. Again, as far as making a justification for it, I said this already. I'm not even 100% certain. I won't know until I go back and rewatch the game. But the only logical explanation I can come up with is that, running a little bit more outside zone and attacking the edges, they wanted someone who's a little bit more agile on the outside to maybe be able to move a bit better than Salyer can. And since they weren't running as much traditional like 22 and power schemes out of like 2 running back sets tonight where they were lining up in traditional I, then which I think Salyer would be a little bit better equipped, much better equipped to be in for. And because they wanted to spread it out and get more 4 Ys out there, or at least 3 Ys and a split Y at tight end, they wanted someone a little bit more agile at tackle. So I'm guessing. But again, I won't know until I go back and rewatch it. Otherwise, I don't even know how to describe the majority of what's happening on this offensive line. Like, even still, the idea of Trevor Penning being a starting offensive lineman for the Chargers at tackle is something that I still can't wrap my brain around. We'll see how that works out here in the coming weeks. But yeah, man, I don't know what Jamari Sawyer has to do to become a regular part of this offensive line. Like, he performed really well last week, and his reward was getting benched. So there's nothing that Austin Deculus has done to earn a starting job whatsoever. I mean, other than the fact that you traded a late round draft pick for him. So I guess you're trying to get something out of that. But, I don't know, man. The offensive line is just going to be a revolving door of who's of who the hell is that for the rest of the season until they figure out like what they can roll out there that won't get Herbert killed.
Yeah. And so
but we know the center position is not in question. Like, that's never changing. I told you that.
Yeah.
Bozeman's going to have to assault somebody on Cam in order for that to happen. Like, that, someone's literally going to have to be hurt, and he's going to have to be put in jail in order for him to not start. He's going to have to be like detained by law enforcement.
Sure. And I don't want to pick on anybody. And Robert, I appreciate you tuning in, but came on a little strong here. Shut up about Bozeman. He plays every game and he plays hard. Has some great run blocking. If our bar as football fans or analyzing a football team is that a player plays every game and that they play hard is the barometer, then we are in trouble. If I just don't, and I coach outside of this, and yes, it's great to have availability is great. It's a great ability, and to play hard is also a great thing, but we are not handing out juice boxes. We're not handing out orange slices. This is the NFL. Bozeman is not an NFL caliber center. Robert, I love you, but this is crazy. We cannot set that bar that low, because this is at the core of the earth, that there is not a better center, which I'm not going to go off PFF rankings because I don't have them and I don't care about them, but you got to believe that there are 32 better graded centers, or probably better centers in general, than the one that the Chargers are currently putting as their starting center right now.
Also, Robert, this is a podcast, so we're not going to shut up.
Yeah.
Just so you.
How terrible would that be?
Well, yeah.
Who's the idiot now? Why do you want us to shut up? We got the mics. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh man.
So, and Troy says he's 36 out of 36 on PFF. I don't care about PFF, but I'm telling
the first
you,
time I agree with PFF grades. It's the first time ever. It might be the one and only time I've agreed with a PFF ranking. I mean, he's 36 out of 36.
Yeah, that have played enough snaps to be graded.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right. So maybe go tell them to shut up too, Robert, I guess.
I mean, you gotta imagine that there are some backup centers on some rosters that are probably better than Bradley Bozeman, and that's not. I don't think that's very far fetched. I think there might be a better center on the Chargers roster currently that is in witness protection or something that I can't see on the field on Sundays and will not ever see the field. So I'm not sure. I don't mean to spend 15 minutes on this, but coming a little strong on trying to praise a player that's just not good.
I mean, I guess actual play on the field should count for something, but I don't know, Robert maybe views football a different way than we do. I like actual production, which is fine, like to each their own. I'm not going to drag you for like what is a very... See, I'm about to be mean. Let me stop that.
I was trying not to be mean either.
No, but like seriously, I get it. You like the guy maybe because he stuck up for Herbert in the game last year and defended him and all that other stuff. But you can't tell me that you watch football every week, this specific team every week, watch that player and walk away feeling like, you know what? Yeah, they did a good job with figuring this one out. Having this dude as like your center, snapping the ball at Herbert as the primary protector up the middle of the offensive line, which is where you cannot have pressure. And the fact that he yields so much of it so frequently and has also been an okay run blocker, not great. I just want to know what he does well, other than I guess be Herbert's bodyguard when him and Madison go out for dinner. I don't know very much else.
That's pretty much it. All right, moving on. Question: early prediction for next week from MRK 2100. I'm not going to read all that. Edward G. Thanks for tuning in. So Chargers go to Jacksonville, play the Jaguars, who just lost to the Texans today, but barely squeaked out a win against the Raiders the week before. What is your prediction this coming Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars? The redemption game from the
Yes,
awful playoff disaster.
man. I don't know because it's literally any given Sunday. I just watched the Chargers mop the floor with the team that beat the crap out of the team that came in the SoFi a few weeks ago and like ate their lunch. So I don't know. Going to Jacksonville, yeah, they gave up a stinker today. I want to say the Texans scored like 25 plus in just the fourth quarter, something ridiculous like that. Don't quote me on it. I just know the Texans went on a run late in the game and the Jaguars absolutely blew it. I'm not sure what you have to worry about. There's not a lot offensively that they do well. I think that if you can do what you did, just a quarter of what you did tonight against the Steelers, against Jacksonville, you'll be fine next week. I don't really fear their defensive front nearly as much. They do have some playmakers defensively, though. I don't know. That's another one that's kind of weird because the Jaguars started off pretty well, and now they seem to be heading in the opposite direction. But they're one of those teams that, they can have a really good game one week and then like lay an egg the next. I'm still rolling with the Chargers next week because I think they got a little something figured out and they've got a little momentum going, and they're going to ride the wave of this matchup tonight and then maybe go to Jacksonville and get another. It won't be a blowout. I'd say probably somewhere from 3 to 6 point win potentially.
Yeah, I got a pretty good feeling about this one just because I caught some of this game, and to give up almost 300 yards to Davis Mills and Jacoby Myers and Trevor Lawrence are still trying to click. They don't have Travis Hunter, and it feels like they've got Travis Etienne as the main cog of that offense and not much in the receiving room. So, it just feels like, I don't know. Maybe they could jump out to like a 27-0 lead maybe, and then maybe hold off and win this game. I'm not sure.
That was very specific, Garrett.
It just feels like oh, damn it. Somebody in the chat just said it too. Dang, Lou. We have the same idea.
Lou.
Lou was right there with me too. But yeah, it just feels like
What's
good
up,
one
Lou?
on you, Lou. I like that. Right behind me. Yeah, it just feels like defensively they've got some guys, but it doesn't feel like that whole offense has taken a pretty significant step back, and Etienne finally feels like he's having a resurgence this season. And whenever he gets going, this offense starts to click, and it just feels like I don't know, if they can stop the run, it's going to be a pretty easy day. Getting wins on the road is pretty tough, but I think they're going to win this game pretty handily. I think it's going to be over a 1-score game. It does feel like Minter's got something going here, and I think we're going to ride that wave in Jacksonville.
Yeah, if they get a big win next week, I won't be totally shocked. I just feel like, they're off the backs of beating down. Well, defensively, they played really well against the Titans. If you actually watch the game, you know that, as opposed to just looking at the score. They only gave up 6 points, but that's Tennessee. You're supposed to do it. The game against the Vikings was another very, very solid defensive effort, and you got tonight. So I do think the defense is on a bit of a heater, and Jacksonville is one of those teams that if you can get them down early, they pretty much lay down. And if the Chargers can go out there and get an early lead, 27 points, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. Again, I'm not expecting a blowout. I still think it'll be probably closer. Whether or not that's because of like some garbage time points, I don't know. It won't really matter. But I don't fear next week's game. Like, I was really nervous about tonight. I don't fear next week's game.
No,
but again, it's kind of, maybe it's like a PTSD thing with the Chargers. It's the games that you feel like they should win that they end up giving you like a really, really hard time with, like the Titans. That should have been a blowout, but it wasn't. So since I've seen that, and even though 14 points came off of like 9 offensive touchdowns or anything like that, like, I'm not going to I'm just not going to assume they're going to go up to Jacksonville and beat the brakes off of the Jaguars. I think it will be a little bit closer, but they still pull it out.
Yeah, I think the Jaguars, and when I was watching that game, they've given up like over 30 points in the last 3 games. So that defense is trending in the wrong direction right now. And this Chargers team feels like after this game, they got something. And, that maybe they're due for a letdown game. That's possible. But it just felt like, again, today, the Chargers out-Steelered the Steelers. They out-coached the Steelers. They outmatched the Steelers. They outclassed the Steelers. Like this game today felt like, if they win this game, then they're for real. If they lose this game, then they are who we thought they were. And they were, they're on that downward trajectory. But no, man, this was a huge win against a good football team who was not going to just roll over. And it feels like the Jaguars could very well just roll over. But you did mention special teams. I think we got to talk about a lot of them. First, we could talk about Dicker, who got the penalty on the kickoff again, but hit a 59-yarder, which tied his career long, and then missed the 55-yarder. My question is, are the goalposts mic'd? Because I have never heard a Looney Tunes type sound louder through my TV than when
I think they are.
They gotta be,
because they showed like how wide the actual uprights are, the post, and I swore I saw like some sort of contraption at the top of it that looked like a mic.
There's definitely maybe, yeah. I mean, there's definitely a camera up there because they do that kind of angle, but
yeah,
they gotta be mic'd, man. That was it was like boing. It was like, dude, come on, dude. Not even like a sound effect guy could make that type of sound. And then Collinsworth's like the Dicker Doinker or whatever the hell. It was like, dude, knock it off with this.
Just please. I think we need to get him some help. Somebody do something about the booger sugar. Yeah, Collinsworth and the nose candy. Somebody's got to help him out, because it's at this point, dude can't conduct himself like an adult during these broadcasts. It's like, yeah, okay, man, I get it. But the fact that he laughed about that for like the next 45 seconds, all right, you made it funny, dude. Cool.
Yeah.
But
I think
went kind of hard about it.
Kind of like
egged it on.
No, I think he goes Dicker, and then he goes Doink or whatever, and then Collinsworth, he's like Beavis and Butthead almost. He's like, oh, Dicker Doinker, and it was like, dude, it was terrible. It was terrible. But that, I'm sure it's mic'd, but like it felt like it reverberated through the stadium. It was so loud.
It's still amazing to me every time a ball hits the uprights like that, because it's how that happens is amazing to me.
I know.
Just the angle that has to be the trajectory of the ball in order for that to happen is still it's football.
Yeah. And then J.K. Scott went from like a terrible 34-yard punt, which gave the Steelers good field position and automatically gave them a field goal try. Like the Chargers only gave up like I think 3 or 4 yards in 3 plays, but then Boswell just hit a 59-yarder solely because of that terrible punt. And then at the end of the game, he's got that kind of sidewinder kick going, and the returner could not field it, and the Chargers got the turnover. So, some good and some bad from both Dicker and Scott today.
This is true, but the only thing I care about, Josh Harris being back.
Damn,
it's the only thing that matters to me.
I was just going to say that.
It's the only thing that matters.
If anybody deserves a game ball, it's Josh Harris, who was perfect today, and we don't have to worry about a bad snap for the rest of the season, which is amazing.
Because let me tell you, there's no way Harbaugh would have gone for that 59-yarder if Lovato was still around. At least I hope not. Because I mean, even the 55, you don't want to take that chance. You're talking about somebody not getting the ball back to the holder and him being able to set the ball. And here's the thing. Even still, the operation is a little wonky because they're letting someone come off the edge and they're getting very, very close to the point of blocking these field goals. It happened at least twice tonight. So they still have some operation cleaning that they have to do here over the next few weeks, because now that we got a long snapper back, cool. But yeah, some other things to clean up. But I couldn't be happier. Demi, sorry, what was his name? Lovato. I know Lovato, but I know we were calling him Demi. I don't even know.
Oh,
look,
Rick.
Enjoy your retirement, man. You've earned it. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. You got a paycheck. I mean, nothing super cost the Chargers because Scott was able to kind of get those snaps. But man, yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad he's retired. Fabuloso here. Craig is famously a card-carrying member of the Sear Taylor fan club. It is known. How about we would probably be seeing Jasir Taylor right now instead of Nico Reed, but they traded your boy Taylor away.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm loving this gag. It's hilarious. Like I love the bit because for those of you that don't know, I had a Freudian slip on a podcast where I said that I was a card-carrying member of his club when I actually meant like I wanted no parts of him. I just said it all wrong. I fumbled it. So
Like hater,
I've never been able, I've never card-carrying member of the hater club, correct.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to live it down. Like they give me crap about it in the Discord all the time. It's this ongoing bit. It's cool. It's funny. Like I'll deal with it. But yeah, Jasir Taylor being gone, phenomenal. Isn't he with the Jets now, right? Where'd he go? Did he go to the Jets?
Was it the Jets?
Because they scored 14 points on special teams today, ironically enough. I think it was the Jets.
I thought it was, it was Jets. You're right.
Okay, yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, they scored 14 points on special teams. I'm sure he had absolutely nothing to do with it, but just ironic.
Dean Leonard today, doing pretty good on special teams. Got the got that bounce on the punt, got him within the 5. They're pretty good. As a gunner.
Somebody who can actually play the position. How about that?
Yep. All right. SoCal Slime, if you got any more questions, send them in. We're about to get off here, so thank you so much. SoCal Slime, how will this division play out? Will Denver keep the lead? Craig.
So they play the Chiefs next week, right?
Denver does. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Chargers.
Okay, I'm sorry. It said Denver. Well, Denver. Oh, how?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
I was thinking about Denver playing the Chiefs next week and hopefully them like cannibalizing each other in some way, shape, or form.
It's in Arrowhead.
Yeah. Again, I think getting off to that 3-0 start was the best thing that could have possibly happened to the Chargers with everything that happened since then. Those matchups are going to be a little bit tougher here, aside from the Raiders because they don't count. But Denver seems to be getting very, very lucky in these close games, and this might be their year for that. Whereas the Chiefs, I don't even know what I want in that matchup. Like, I kind of want Denver to win to push the Chiefs out of the way because I feel like the Chargers actually maybe match up against Denver a little bit better than the Chiefs, even though Denver has that hellacious front and pass rush. Just hate the Chiefs more than anything, man. So but as far as the way I see the division playing out, that's gonna be rough, man. I think it's still gonna be between. I think that we'll be able to keep the Chiefs at bay. It's gonna come down to us in Denver, and can we go beat them up there? I don't know. I got a feeling Denver ends up winning the division. I just do.
You do?
I think we'll be second. I think Denver ends up winning the division. I hate to say it, but I do.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's just one of those years, man. They keep winning these stupid games last minute that they shouldn't. You know how this happens. It's like when teams do this and it's their year to do it, they just ride it for a really, really long time. Like it may go into, they might ride it to a division win, but as far as division championship, but as far as like next year, then they'll just start losing all of them. This is just their year to win the close games, and I think it'll carry them through. Do I think they'll? Like when we're talking like playoff time, I think we'll get them in a big game. But as far as the division goes, I think they might win the division.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time believing that. I'm not sure. I hear what you're saying. I don't think Denver wins the division. I think Denver's too far out, or KC's too far out. I think with the early, I'm just going to say the Chargers are going to win the division. I just think Bo Nix's luck is going to run out pretty soon here.
I hope so. I hope it happens in the worst possible way too, like in a gotta have it situation. I want it to happen against us, honestly.
Yeah,
that would be the most gratifying. But I just feel like going up there is always a rough game for the Chargers, and sweeping them would be awesome. I just don't see it happening this year. And again, this is me thinking under the current situation with the Chargers roster, if nobody else gets hurt, Omarion Hampton comes back, we don't have to continue to play musical chairs with the offensive line. There's absolutely a shot. I just can't trust that that's going to happen. Not that, I mean, I know Hampton's coming back. It's just the offensive line that I think is going to be an issue for the remainder of the year. Even to this point, with all the attrition that's already happened, I wouldn't be shocked if something else were to go wrong. Fingers crossed that it doesn't, though. I'm just saying, based on history, at least for this year.
Yeah. Feels like that 10-7 win over the Raiders on Thursday, like against any other team, they are not winning that game. But somehow, I don't know. Looks pretty ugly, but we'll see. Burley, thank you for bringing up Craig's favorite player. Thank you, Burley, for donating. Thank you, Robert, for donating as well. And I think after that, we are good. Is there anything else you want to touch on while before we get out of here?
No, man. Just get Collinsworth off Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, and I hope the Chargers can keep this rolling, because it was all three phases today was awesome. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we are good. We will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, do all the stuff. Join us in Discord. It's still our favorite place to be. And we will see you next time.
Appreciate you guys. Big salute.